Welcome back, everybody. Rudy with Alpha Investments, and there's nothing like the plastic, infamous card store plastic chair. Got a billion of these stupid chairs. Well, it finally happened. Yeah, I know. Haven't showered and shaved in like 4 months. Pretty tired, working quite a bit right now, getting ready for all these Black Friday things and handling like 17 pallets of Commander and just exhausted. But anyways, we got to talk about it. I've been inundated with the basic concept, everyone. Wizards has officially entered the secondary market. Wizards has entered the chat, as they say. Press F to pay respect to some investors out there for they like to flip single cards. The risk level has been ratcheted up. And we are officially at the point, are you really surprised? I mean, come on, everybody. Come on. Are you really surprised? It took Wizards 26 years to say, hey, why don't we just take like one card like Bitter Blossom, put it in a fancy black piece of packaging, and just sell the card itself for $30? Why don't we just sell the individual cards? So the Secret Lair new era is upon us. As we talked about in many videos, everybody, in the last 30, 60 days, we've been talking about how Magic's going through an evolutionary time right now. We exited the Modern Masters reprint era. We exited from the Vault era. We exited the core set era, then we went back to it because we got lonely. And now this new era of massive amounts of variants of brawls and commander decks. We've got this new era with collectors boxes alongside parallel standard boxes. And now we have quite honestly the most fascinating. It's funny because the things they hype up the most tend to be the most disappointing. The things that they kind of subtly say, hey, yeah, Secret Lair, this little fancy thing's coming. I mean, we all heard about it in the last few weeks, but we really didn't think much of it. And this is probably the biggest announcement and the biggest change to modern and standard, the biggest change to just modern Magic the Gathering ever. Not modern as in the format, just modern as in the last 10 years. I don't know if everybody realizes how big of a kind of a game changer this could be. The fact that they already said there's going to be 7, and then many more in this series, yes, no matter how you all feel about it, it's going to become a collectible series. I promise you all, it's going to sell and do very well, and there's going to be a strong market for it. Because people love to collect series and sets and different kind of having the whole beginning to end of any form of sequence. It's a human nature thing. But when Wizards is pretty much saying, here's Bitter Blossom and a token for $30, Wizards has finally found a way to directly just sell an actual card direct to market themselves. We've seen some hints at it recently with these different kind of, the Mythic Timmy editions with all the disasters, which was scrapped. And then we saw, of course, the Ponies the Gathering or Galloping. We saw the Mythic Throne fancy thing, which, don't get me wrong, the products are all beautiful, the packaging's beautiful. I'm not actually knocking the product. It actually it's pretty impressive looking. But you have to acknowledge the change of tone, the change of direction, that whole, just the demeanor of what's going on here. And also you can feel that, at least from somebody who probably spends, I remember in 2018, I think for the entire year, with all distributors, stores, everything I had ownership in, and just even collection buying, I think in 2018, I spent like $9 million on Magic in 1 year. This year's probably going to be 20% higher. And that's with me not even really buying as much collections and old stuff. When I see someone when I feel I have a good grasp internally because of the amount of business I deal with at the scale. So when I see something, in my opinion, that's this much of a shift in behavior, it gets a lot of attention of myself and many others, and my phone starts buzzing. And and I guess the real question is, where is this going to lead us? It definitely changes the outlook on a lot of modern, standard, expensive cards. And for a lot of the little Timmies out there that like to, I don't know, buy maybe 10, 20, 50, 100 copies of different cards and try to flip them and do things. Knowing now that if you think Bitter Blossom is a $50 card and they're at $20, $30, well, if you put a large position and they just say, all right, well, this month we're going to do the Secret Lair of Bitter Blossom, or Jace or some other 10/20 Noble Hierarch type card, it adds a new level of risk to everything, and it reinforces what I tell everybody for the last 4 years on this channel. No matter how confident you are in any investment or decision, there's always outside risks and forces at work that you truly can't comprehend or understand until, we have that hindsight to go back or turn around and say, oh, okay. You need to, the ability to look forward, or honestly, the ability to look forward or backwards is very foggy for no matter who you are. And this is kind of a big difference on everything. This product, and like I told you guys in a couple minutes ago when I started this video, it's fascinating that, quite frankly, this is probably the biggest, most important change in Magic in a long time. And I've seen some comments, I've got a lot of messages on it from the shameless Rudy plug patron shilling for himself. When I'm talking to my patrons about it, they're just like, Rudy, what do you think? And I'm like, look, I'll make a video on it tomorrow, and this is it's a big change. And it reinforces that, like I've been warning everybody in the last 12 months, that the new era of flashy variants of the same cards, this is the new beginning of an era that's going to be around for a long time. As you all can see, we're not experiencing a lot of mechanic changes of the game. We're not experiencing distribution changes, maybe a little bit with Wizards doing direct. We're not experiencing a lot of LGSs collapsing or opening right now. We're experiencing a lot of stability in a lot of those categories, but Wizards is definitely really making up for the lack of these master premium products. And it shows that they're still unloading Modern Horizons in the market. They haven't done a third print run, but the fact they still have as part of the second print run is quite surprising, even to me. And now it's really hurting the market. You can tell when they've gone too far. It reminds me of like Return to Ravnica or RT or Gatecrash. You can tell when the market's excited, they want more, they print more, but you can always tell when it goes, okay, I think we've gone too far. You can feel it. And I don't know what the long-term impact of this is going to be. I really don't, because a lot of just the regular players and collectors out there that always like the flashy variant to pimp their deck or make it decked out and the most upgraded they can get. When you start to have the same cards with, all these basic cards, a foil version, a variant version, a promo version, I guess this new secret lair version, a box topper version, we are really, really headed to that direction of the baseball card era when it comes to some of these singles. Or I'm sorry, not baseball, I guess the sports card era. And a lot of people have been talking about it. And usually when there's a lot of chatter or a lot of smoke, it does usually lead to something. And I truly do, and I do know 100% certainty that a lot of employees at WotC actually watch these videos. So I don't know if they're probably the quiet voices that don't have impact of anything. They're probably not the louder voices that says, oh my god, kitty cats are cute, let's print a whole set in cartoons. That's probably not the group of people that watch my channel, but at least, I hope the people out there watching that do work at Wizards and a lot of the stores and distributors that do watch this, I really encourage the higher-ups to be very, very careful and to be very cautious about this direction of supplementing revenue, top-line sales, to keep those numbers fluffed. And as everyone's saying, well, Rudy said there's going to be some holiday fourth quarter to really fluff sales up. And, I thought that was going to be the mystery product. I didn't think there'd be a mystery product announcement for future Throne Collectors products. And now, these new Secret Lair products, which is an indefinite cash flow stream. It's a lot more than I thought. I thought it was going to be one thing, not quite a bit of product lines. But I just really hope there are people in the higher up levels of the ivory tower out there that at least have the ability to voice their concern internally about printing so many flashy variants of things. And look, I looked at the product. The Secret Lair looks cool. The cards look great. Well, I'm not a fan of some of the cartoony ones, but like the Bitter Blossom and some of the 5-color, the gold ones, yeah, I like it. It looks really cool. I like fancy packaging. I like the nice premium versions, but, just like the lottery cards, too much of a good thing, it does erode away. It dissolves. Too much, of any form of extreme, you get too drunk or high on your own supply or too much. It falls and breaks upon itself. It gets top heavy, top heavy. Oh, I ruined that moment. Man, I was going to say top heavy and throwing a giggity. And you got to be careful of that because you can really cause a lot of long-term damage. Sorry about that. And I just hope that, they just realize the risk of being top heavy like that and that kind of damage. I hope that somebody that high is aware and at least can just speak up and say, hey, we need to really be careful doing this because, the complaint isn't really the cards are ugly. Nobody's really complaining of that. People aren't even complaining about the cardstock quality as much. The complaint of everything remains to be concern about the variance and the amount of just reprinting flashy, shiny versions. We're not seeing the innovation and the risk-taking as much, at least that's how it feels recently. I'm really happy with Throne of Eldraine. I love it. It reminds me of that Lorwyn Morningtide era. I love it. I love the theme, the story, that whole showcase, the frames, the fairy tale. I love it. I'm not complaining. I love the look at it, the feel, the type of cards, the mechanics. I'm happy with it. But, I'm just not seeing a lot of the, why aren't they doing more risk-taking in other directions in creative products, versus just kind of recycling some of the same cards with new art. I'm happy there's new artwork. I don't think they had a choice. Can you imagine if they did this without new artwork? Everyone's like, are you serious? At least put some effort into it. Which they did, but, just on the backs of the gift bundles with the Timmy versions of all that mythic stuff we went through in the last 12 months, and then the super deluxe versions, and then, now these new versions with all these pretty much wizards just going to have a little box with pretty much one or just two or three, one card, and they're just going to sell it directly at, what the card's worth. I mean, they're not going to put a card that's worth 50 cents to sell for $30. They're using their secondary market reprint equity. And, it's interesting. Obviously, it makes you wonder how far this can go. I think that's really the grand scheme as I kind of go to the last part of this video is, how far can they really take this? Can we really go to the point where we reprint, why don't we just do a new Force of Will since, apparently, with all the fallout with the Therese Nielsen thing and all this stuff, are they going to hire a new artist and just do a new Force of Will with new art? And since it's worth $50 to $100, just put one Force of Will in a, I guess, secret lair and just sell it for like $70 or $99? I mean, where do you draw the line at this? What about fetch lands? Since we can't have fetch lands in regular $80 booster boxes anymore, are they going to have a secret lair with one of each fetch land? With just a different art, and they just sell the fetch lands for $40 a pop or something? See, that's what I'm saying. Where do you determine how far you take this? And you take it away from a collectible card game, that whole, cracking packs for the excitement and the rush. Where, we started off originally with, when you look back at the Battle for Zen, BFZ. There's one over here. I don't know if you guys can see it in the frame or not. When you look at BFZ, they had lottery cards. I loved it. I was so excited when I heard about it. And then Kaladesh, by the way, lottery cards are permanent. Oh. They are? So there's going to be endless amounts of lottery cards? Well, this is kind of boring. And then, of course, Amonkhet says, hey, we got more lottery cards, but you can't read them. And then the whole thing collapses. And, of course, Wizards, pushes it, falls apart. Then they start over, reset in a different direction. And then we went through this new era, like I said, with these mythic editions all over the internet and crashing and problems and just a disaster. And now we're into this new, let's just take the single card and sell it direct. How, it's so weird to sit here and really put it on a timeline and look at it and say, man, they really are. It's like they're going down a checklist and just trying all these different things and they're just seeing what sticks. And in the meantime, they're just absorbing millions of dollars in top line revenue. Thankfully they're not having the problems they did with those crazy mythic Timmy things. But, when you look at it, where is this leading? Because Hasbro requires, not optional, for those people to keep their job at the high levels of WotC, they have to perform. The numbers have to be positive year over year. So every year, by pushing and pushing, raising the MSRP, price per pack, more variants, Magic is going in a very strange direction that I did not predict. I truly didn't see this coming. I just remember during the Modern Masters era of 2013 through 2018, or 2017, the Ultimate Masters was the last one, I guess. Wow, was that a year ago? That's how you know you've been doing this so long. Like, the years it's weird, because people watch this channel and they're just like, oh my God, look at his Magic. I was like, look how much he's got. Dude, I've been doing this crap for like my whole life. and you really lose track as time goes on of the sets. Like I still think like I remember like Fate Reforged coming out yesterday. Anyways, but and I remember in the Modern Master era of all the reprints and the modern reprints, everybody was just like, oh my god, the endless reprints are insane. And now they went cold turkey on that, and now they're just literally selling one card. Oh, I'm sorry, one card with some tokens, or maybe 2 cards or 3 cards, or one of each snow-covered land for $30. I mean, you're literally taking a snow-covered land that's worth maybe a couple dollars from Ice Age or something, or foil, and you're literally taking 5 of them and just literally selling the card itself. And, that's never happened before at this scale. They've done some little things in the past, like From the Vault, 15 cards, this and that, but that was more of a courtesy. From the Vaults were, $20, or I'm sorry, $16, $18 for an LGS as a thank you for being part of the WPN network, which was fine. I never had a problem with it. And, but now to see literally, we're going to take this card and just sell it direct from corporate. It's fascinating. It's a little disturbing, and I have no idea where this is going to lead. But my final thought is just remember, everybody, and hopefully people at Wizards who actually watch this, which can't admit it because they'll probably get fired. When you do these things, you may make more and more money, which I'm sure WotC is, and Hasbro is happy, and Magic's doing very well, and I can't really knock that. Besides Vintage, which, old stuff is collapsing, but besides the old stuff, all the new stuff's doing very well. So, nobody at Wizards has really any incentive to change because they're bringing in the money. But I just highly encourage anybody out there who's at a level of power to remember that making and doing things like this will have long-term consequences. It will have unforeseen side effects, collateral damage, and things that you cannot see coming. And, I just hope that's taken into consideration. And there's somebody at WotC that can say, hey, excuse me, Bobs and Lumber, get the Bobs in here. And I need to warn them, just be careful. I just hope there's somebody that is able to see things a little different and have a good conversation, because I think that's very important for long-term just standing the test of time. So, wow. Wizard sells secondary cards. It's crazy.